Switching our focus now, Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has submitted its preliminary report on the AI-171 plane crash to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the concerned authorities. The report filed is based on the initial findings of the probe. Preliminary report on AI-171 plane crash has been submitted. Report submitted to Ministry of Civil Aviation. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau there has submitted its preliminary report on the tragic AI-171 crash to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and other concerned authorities. The report is in fact based on early findings of the probe. While it's too soon to draw final conclusions, investigators there in fact have been trying to piece together what exactly might have gone wrong. Were there technical failures? Was it human error? Or was it something entirely different? Do remember that over 240 people lost their lives in this tragic plane crash. Now, Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has submitted its preliminary report on the AI-171 plane crash to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the concerned authorities. The report filed in fact is based on the initial findings of the probe. Still very sketchy details. We're trying to understand what exactly is it that the government body has really found. But what we've been given to understand is that the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has submitted its preliminary report on the AI-171 plane crash to the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the concerned authorities. The report filed is based on the initial findings of the probe. So this is the big development coming in. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has submitted its preliminary report on the AI-171 crash that claimed the lives of over 240 people. These are early findings, but they're critical in helping us understand what exactly led to this tragic incident. At this stage, the report may not have all the answers, but it sets the tone for what direction the investigation will be headed to. Are we looking at a mechanical failure, a procedural lapse, or something deeper? Remember, the AI-171 crash had raised several serious questions about flight safety protocols, aircraft maintenance, and the response time. This report could be the first real insight into what exactly went wrong. The Ministry of Civil Aviation is now reviewing the findings, and this could have major implications, not just for the airline involved, but of course for the aviation safety norms across the board. In fact, I'm joined by my colleague Varghese Abraham over the phone line with more details on the same. Varghese, take us through the key points. What has the AAIB found so far?
What we understand from sources is that only the submission of the report has taken place with regard to the crash of the Air India aircraft, and what we also understand is that it probably has the initial findings of it, which would be with regard to the data that they have been able to collect, especially when it comes to the drop in the altitude, what recordings could have been there within the black boxes, and also a lot of data when it comes to the moment of the crash, that is to say how the communications from the cockpit to the air control tower was, and then the issues about the engine thrust. All these are the data that could have possibly be there in that particular report. We are in fact trying to find out what could be the key details with regard to this crash, and therefore this has been given by the AAIB, which was in fact going ahead and investigating this particular accident that happened. And Also, this particular report could in fact entail details about what led to those crashes based on the communication between the pilots as well as the air tower, and also with data such as the altitude loss that had happened, the engine thrust, and at the same time what led to the fuel capacity that was there at that time. So all this would be significantly there, and this could in fact point out to what led to the particular reason for the crash that we saw in Gujarat. So clearly, right now, all eyes would be on what it would reveal as such, and when the details of that report in fact emerges, we will get a clear picture of what led to this air crash, Neha.
And Varghese, what's the next step in the investigation process? When can we really expect the final report?
Well, what we understand is that after the initial report, there will be further, the mining of the data that is there, and once that data is mined and then corroborated with certain other investigations that have been carried out, especially with voice bit recorder that is there, the black boxes that had the voice recordings as well as the other crucial data with regard to the aircraft, and what they found from the forensics department as well. So after they get a hold of all these things, and once it is corroborated, this would be the next step that we would do, and after that they will give the final report on this particular crash. But the initial findings also will be quite interesting to know, because that would in fact point or give us a direction as to what could have led, whether it's the engine failure that led to the loss in the altitude, was there enough thrust that was not given when it took off, was it a pilot decision that led to it? So all these factors would be in fact weighed in as such once we come to know what exactly happened. So that will happen only after corroborating with other investigations that have been carried out, and other data that has been that has been collected. So till then, we'll have to wait for the investigations to continue. But quite interestingly, it would be quite interesting to see what
Right,
will be
Varghese.
taken from it.
Right, Varghese, thank you very much for joining us with all of those important insights. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Krishna Kubar, who joins me live from Newsroom with more details on the same. Krishna, what exactly does this report contain, and what are the investigators leaning towards at this point?
Right. Just to put things into perspective, this is the preliminary report that has been submitted by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. Bear in mind, under the International Civil Aviation Organization, India is required to submit the preliminary report within 30 days of the crash. Bear in mind, the tragic Ahmedabad air crash took place on the 12th of June. So the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau of India submitting that report well before that mandated 30-day deadline. And this is a preliminary report, bear in mind, which takes into account all the data available so far from the black box, the cockpit voice recorder, and other such that were used to piece together this preliminary report. But bear in mind, the final report is the one that will tell people exactly what led to this crash, because, was it an engine failure, was it a fuel supply issue, or what could it possibly be? Because both engines shutting down at the same time is considered an extremely rare occurrence. So the exact reason as to what led to the crash will be known only when the final report is submitted, and that report will be submitted somewhere around mid-September, about 3 months from the date of the crash. So for now, the report by the Accident Investigation Bureau has been submitted to the Civil Aviation Ministry, Neha, and we'll have to wait and watch as to where things progress from here, because the investigations will progress from here as well. Further analysis will be undertaken of all the evidence that is available, and then only will a final conclusion be reached and put out as part of that final report, Neha.